Hello and welcome back to the Team 7 podcast. We are back again with episodes 121 through 126 of Naruto Shippuden. I'm joined late tonight, at the actual turn of the hour, 10 p.m. Got Zach Shaddix with me, Asher Coker, and Lance. He asked us not to share his last name, but it's the same as Asher's first name. So, what do we think, guys?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, okay, yeah. You act like you're not on here basically every third week.
You know, I'm just happy to chop it up with my boys.
I feel that.
You know what I mean, Asher?
Yeah, chap it up, fap it up.
Exactly. Whoa. So 6 dense episodes. What do we think?
Oh man, if I've ever hated Datara more.
Suck.
Yeah. I'm glad that we're on the same team for this Akatsuki member. I do not enjoy him at all.
Yeah. If the hands with the mouths weren't bad enough, we got a little different peek of him this week, and his attitude is still so annoying. Cool fight though. It was neat to see Sasuke in action for once.
Did you guys have more love for Sasuke after watching this fight? Or more anything?
Guess what? Yes.
Tell
you what. The first note I made is Sasuke is fun to watch. Sure is fun to watch. Can't deny it. He's kind of a little bit of a mix of I'm just going to say it, Naruto and Shikamaru. 2 of my faves.
You think that Sasuke is both, or like a combination of Naruto and Shikamaru?
Because he's powerful, really powerful, but he's thinking 5 steps ahead in this fight with Datara.
Is that a strategy thing, or is that a genjutsu thing? Or is that both? Does that work together? That was kind of the thought that I had. Is that pure logic, or is that the fact that he can see that far ahead, so he just is naturally inclined to plan it out that way?
I'd say both. I don't know that he could plan that far ahead without his level of genjutsu.
But it's not genjutsu. It's
Sharingan,
which is a KK Genkai.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I said. You can rewind it and you'll be proved wrong.
Let's check the tape. Zach, what was it called?
It was a Kekkei Genkai, and whenever he was, I just don't know if I can't do it.
All right, fast forward.
Yeah.
See, I told you. What the heck, dude?
That's so true. So Lance, what do you think? Was it genjutsu, as they so lovingly called it, aka KK Genkai, aka Sharingan here in this instance? Is it the Sharingan that's allowing him to plan this far ahead, or is it just logic?
Strategery.
It's a good question. I don't really feel like the Sharingan has a lot to do with the planning. I think that's more of reactionary, decision making.
I agree.
I'm going to be careful with what I say because I don't want to spoil anything else. But to clarify the terms, the Sharingan itself is a KK Genkai because it's passed down in a particular bloodline, but it is capable of using genjutsu that are unique only to the Sharingan.
Yes.
So,
I'm sorry. Is there an echo in here? Because that's verbatim what Zach said and what I agreed with earlier.
But you're calling all of it genjutsu.
Confusing.
Yeah, go ahead and just clip mine, and then you can just put that on social media.
That would be that would be like watching someone That would be like watching someone play basketball and then you leave and someone was like, "Hey, what did you do earlier?" And you're like, "I watched a guy shoot a layup." But it's not only you watched a guy shoot a layup because you watched all of basketball.
Going on.
Okay, but
so
I get what you're
calling
saying.
all of the Sharingan genjutsu is like just the layup.
But specifically, what I'm referring to is when Deidara has Sasuke pinned on top of the dragon, the clay dragon, and it kind of turns like the possession of who is in control of the situation. Deidara says, "Oh, it's been genjutsu this whole time. You were a step ahead of me."
Yeah.
So that's what I was referring to when I said genjutsu. I wasn't just saying overall the
see.
Kekkei Genkai, the Sharingan, whatever. It was because of this genjutsu, Naruto or Sasuke was planning ahead and in being a step ahead of Deidara per Deidara's quote. Not as in like a whole of like the layup won the basketball game. Like there's a whole team involved. I get it.
I got you.
I understand what you mean now better than I did a minute ago.
And also, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, without spoiling anything, like you will see more of like how and why those kinds of things would play out that way, like later on in the show. So for now, good job.
But that's
Sasuke.
what I'm saying is like in the sense of strategery and being logically a step ahead, would Sasuke be in that same mindset without those abilities? Whereas Shikamaru, that's just naturally the way that he operates. He is a strategic thinker. I'm not saying Sasuke's not. Yeah. I'm just saying, I really don't know why I'm dying on this hill.
I personally don't think that the Sharingan is what is allowing him to think forward. I think it allows him to process information faster because everything's happening in slow motion for him while using it. So it's like definitely a part of it, but it's not like the Sharingan is giving him future sight. He just thinks strategically and utilizes the Sharingan to be able to like make those things happen.
Almost like Mangekyo Sharingan, where it's like everything's in a different way, but whenever it comes back, only like a second passed.
Right. That fight was. I hate this fight. I want Sasuke to beat him so bad because I don't think that Deidara is this strong. Like, I can kind of get where he's like a great matchup against Gaara, but Sasuke has like the type advantage, quote unquote, with his chakra nature, and he's pretty strong. I would say probably stronger than Gaara. And I'm taking like Gaara at the beginning of Shippuden when he still has the one tail, and like Sasuke at this fight, I think Sasuke is stronger. So for Deidara to not
like
win,
to last
obviously,
this long,
but like and then like push Sasuke to the point where like if he didn't pull something out of left field to survive, then he would have died.
There are a lot of people who were like the online commentary, I guess, about this particular fight is that it just the way it played out, the Sasuke's like escape from it seemed kind of cheap.
Yeah.
He's just sort of like, oh,
gotcha. So did the snake.
Yeah,
got in
like,
its mouth.
I guess I understand.
Disappeared.
It's that's gonna be up for everybody's interpretation how that comes across, I guess. But I feel like out of all the like Naruto fights, which mostly are just everyone kind of loves all of them to an extent, there is really not a lot of love for this fight anywhere. I don't know. Yeah. I don't even think that there's anything specific I could point to about it. It's just meh.
Meh.
Yeah, and that's good to know. But like on a first time watch through, the only reason I'm appreciative of it is because I want to see Sasuke in action because I haven't seen him in a while, and that's the only reason I'm excited about it. And
Makes sense.
I feel like in the grand scheme of the fights that are to come, this is going to pale in comparison. And I hope that's the case because it wasn't like a grand and glorious adventure, but at the same time, it was cool to see him in his second form. It was cool to see him use the Chidori in just different ways than we've seen before, and even just getting some screen time because now that I would say I'm kind of I'm I'm like over onto the Sasuke team in a way, not like fully, but like I'm appreciating him more. This was very satisfying to see.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with that. Just the fact that we get to see him like doing his thing.
Yeah.
Since being with Orochimaru was very entertaining.
I think that's another reason why it's so frustrating. Even looking back, you spend most of Shippuden, half of it with no Sasuke, and then the other half to where we're at now, with like, I mean, not even a full like 23 minutes of an episode's worth of like, maybe more than that, but like just because of the heavy stuff that we just saw in the last batch. Before that, like we barely saw him. Like just sprinkled in at the end of an episode, we'd get an update or whatever. So I totally understand that like the desire to want to see more action from Sasuke. And I think that the story as a whole like makes him very like polarizing. But the people that do love him, it like the show like just drip feeds you. Yeah. And you're like, do you want more? Do you want to see this more? And so whenever you finally get a fight like this, it's not the Orochimaru fight because that's kind of more of just a opportunity for Sasuke than it is like a defeat of Orochimaru at full strength because he was so weak. Yeah. So this is like his first time that we really get to see him like go all out. And against somebody that Kakashi has, for all intents and purposes, like defeated. Mm-hmm. He got away on a technicality, but like if that fight had gone on, Kakashi was going to beat Deidara. So it doesn't really. But then he says that Naruto's better than him, but we've got like this like competing factor with Sasuke, and it doesn't really line up for him to not beat Deidara. And that's the hill that I'm going to die on. Like it's to get that fight after so long and then it not go Sasuke's way feels like the math doesn't fully add up with everything else we've been told.
Interesting. I definitely see what you're saying there. And an interesting piece of that for me as I was watching it was like, Sasuke definitely seems pretty strong. Like he's definitely got a lot of abilities that we've not seen, and he's definitely a formidable opponent. But they even mentioned that about Orochimaru whenever he's like pretty beaten up and he goes back to the what's the team called? The Hebi?
Hebi, Hebi,
Hebi, and they're mentioning like Karin is like she says something about this is the guy that beat Orochimaru. And he even said, well, Orochimaru was pretty weak. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I feel like, yes, Sasuke is strong, but I feel like he's got a long way to go to like be the top guy.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think they both do. Meaning Naruto as well.
Right.
I'm trying to think. So in 121, we see basically the entire episode is about them sealing the four tails. Three tails and four tails. So the three tails beast and then the four tails Jinchuriki. Just wanted to put that out there because we didn't cover it at all. That happened in this batch. They're still doing that. They're about halfway through. And they also let us know that Naruto will in fact be last. So
Yeah.
That's fitting for the show named Naruto.
Did they say who they're sealing those beasts or those Jinchuriki into?
They have told us the pronunciation. Not sure. Edo Edo Lance.
He was the guy on Kisame's sword.
The Edo statue.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how to say it either, but yeah, it's just like Edo statue, I think, or Gato.
Yeah.
Isn't that Gato that starts with a G?
Is it Gato?
I think it might be.
Okay, yeah. So GEDO.
I'll look it up real quick, but
I think you're definitely right. But Ghetto statue, it's like they're basically putting it into this vessel right now. And what did you ask, Zach?
I just thought that was the guy who Kisame brought in on his sword at the beginning of 121.
Yeah, that was Four Tails.
Yeah. That was the guy who had the Four Tails?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the beasts that you see are like sitting next to him right before they start the sealing ritual, that is the Three Tails.
Gotcha.
Or it could be 4 and 5, but either way, it's like two of them at once. It might be 4 and 5. I can't really remember, but either way, they're sealing them. Lance, while you're looking for that, after
I just found it.
Okay, go ahead.
It's GEDO Gato statue, and it's basically like what you said. It's a vessel to like hold
like a temporary thing.
Yeah, kind of. It's a place where you can hold those like tailed beasts, almost like putting a genie in a bottle. It's like they exist somewhere, but they're not like taking up any physical space.
Gotcha.
That's kind of what it is. So
yeah.
So is the idea like? Well, I might be asking a question ahead of its time, but it makes me think like the idea is to like seal them all into these statues and then they'll divvy them up when they're done, rather than somebody gets one as they go. But I guess we'll figure that out.
Yep. You'll learn more about that entire process.
Yeah.
So Sasuke, Datara, they like basically run into each other. We've skipped over some stuff here, but Team Kakashi, which doesn't have Kakashi on it. Or is he on this mission with them this time? Well, yes, he is, because he's got the dogs.
But it's because he was with the other team, right?
No. Who is their leader?
Can't think of her name, but she's pregnant.
Oh, it's Kurenai.
Kurenai, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense why she's not there. Okay, so I guess Kakashi's back with Team Kakashi at this point. But Yamato, Naruto, Sai, Sakura, Kiba, Shino, Hinata, they're all looking for Itachi. Akamaru, thank you. They're all looking for Itachi. And so is Sasuke's team. Sasuke runs into Datara. They fight. And then the Leaf are basically moving. I'm saying all this to say, what do we think about the dogs' voices? Because I watched in both dub and sub, and they're atrocious both ways.
I love it. I don't know why, but I love it.
I was going to say, I didn't really make any specific note about them. Like, I didn't hate them, but they weren't like memorable to me in any way. Not like Toby, which I know we'll get to in a little bit.
Yeah.
The only one that really got to me was the one who kind of talks down to Sakura. His voice in the dub is just like, I don't know, it's very annoying. And what he's saying should be kind of like, I feel like comic relief, but at the same time, the way it's delivered is like, whatever, dude.
Zach's over here getting mad at anime dog. He's like, man, this guy's a bitch. That's how I feel about Datara, though. So Toby just, hangs out with the fight. He's just there being Toby. And then we watched the end of 125.
Do you remember earlier, I guess it was the sorcery fight. At the end of that batch, you all heard Toby, I guess in dub, but I was only watching sub then, I'm pretty sure. And I didn't get to the dub for some reason, long batch or something. So I didn't hear his voice then, but you all were like, you need to go back and watch just to like hear what he sounds like. So this is truly the first time I've heard Toby speak that I can remember, or at least for any length of time. And he is wild. I texted you all and said, he reminds me of a Meeseeks from Rick and Morty. Just general attitude and tone of voice, timbre, everything.
He's just an odd ball of chaos.
Yeah.
Here's my take on Toby, just from an outsider's perspective. It's similar to the Anbu Black Ops, where, like, I get that they seem like this super big force of nature for the Leaf Village, and they're kind of in the shadows and like doing the bidding of like some of the things in the background. But I've never seen the Anbu Black Ops in a good light. I've never seen them like actually carry out a mission or do something like beneficial. And I'm trying to gather my thoughts. This is what I'm trying to say. The Anbu Black Ops feels like a joke in a way.
Yeah.
And Toby being on the Akatsuki makes them less intimidating. Like, why, if they're this giant force of nature that are not to be reckoned with, would they allow Toby to be a part of that team? Because he just seems like he's getting in the way, and he's not. I mean, we haven't seen his power, so it might speak for itself whenever we get there. But it just feels like, dude, what are we doing with this guy? He's just kind of taking your whole tone and mood way down.
Are you saying he didn't fill Saucery's shoes fully or well?
Like, not even close. Like, at all. On a pure intimidation stance.
This is a great take. I love everything about this take. And unfortunately, all you're going to get is you're going to have to wait and see. But it's a great take.
Sure.
Well, did you watch the end of episode 125, Zach?
I've watched it all.
So what did you think about the scene where, at the end of 125, where Payne is talking to someone?
Yeah.
And then they walk out of the shadows.
Dude, I'm so confused.
So we got to see the leader.
Yeah.
Who is Madara Uchiha.
Madara.
And the only thing I can say is Toby, like, is he like a copycat? Is he wearing the same mask? Is this a Jekyll and Hyde scenario? Is this the same guy with a different personality and different
I never
scenarios?
even thought about a Jekyll and Hyde type thing. That's interesting.
Like, it could be the same guy. It also
that's his mask.
Before you said that, like, what's going on, I was going to tell you what's going on, but once I heard your theories, I want you to wait now, because some of those theories are things that I had never considered.
Okay.
So wait and find out, and it'll be worth it. I will say, without any spoilers, during this time of watching, because this is about whenever I wanted to say this is about whenever you and I caught up, Lance, right?
Yeah, probably somewhere around here.
No,
it's hard to remember now, honestly.
Okay, so by the time we caught up, it was like a little bit later. Okay, so, but anyways, when we were watching this, it felt like forever until we got some answers. But I will say that some of my theories about Toby were right, and I called them from the first time that I saw Toby. We'll come back to that in probably 3 months.
What?
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
There's some long game payoffs with Shippuden.
Like, I want to wait too, but I also want to know right now so bad.
I know. Maybe you should just binge the rest of the episodes and then come back and actually watch through the batches as well.
Do not threaten me with a good time.
I know you would do it too.
To further some of the stuff that you're saying, Zach, did you see at the bottom of this, like on the subtitles, right? There's a certain part where Pain and bluish haired lady, right, are talking to Madara, and when that person talks back, it said Toby at the bottom. It was like Toby : text, and then after that, it didn't do that anymore. It didn't say who was talking, but it was that guy. And then you see the mask, and then there's the Sharingan in the middle, just one eye. So like, I was I watched that part twice. I'm still so confused.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I guess I'll know in 3 months.
This is so weird. This is like the weirdest thing that's happened on this show.
This really is, I feel like, one of the more like important parts of the show as far as like hooking into like the, gosh, I don't know, like the overarching, what will end up being more of like an overarching kind of thing.
Yeah.
Up to this point, it's been kind of like a collection of several different stories, but there's one main character. And I think by the time you get to this point in the show, I don't know how you could get to this moment in the show and then not like watch the rest of it.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, this was a great batch. I love that it was only like 6 episodes too, because I think it made it feel very like poignant, I guess.
Not so lost. Yeah,
Are you looking for that in the episode?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I know exactly where it's at, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay. I'm not like making that up, right?
No, you're not.
I'm not crazy here. I feel crazy.
It does say that. I will say that. I will say that you are correct.
But it's not Toby's voice.
We don't know
from earlier. Well, it's not that. Meow, hey.
Yeah, I love that.
Clown.
Unless it's the Jekyll and Hyde thing, where it's like split personality.
Is this Tyler Durden in Fight Club?
Don't know who that is.
Okay.
Okay.
Great reference on my part.
Yeah.
Old movie at this point.
It is something that will, because up until now we basically are, if you ask questions of like what is going on, we just know that like the Akatsuki are after the tailed beast. Like that's it. And really even at that, for most of OG, we're just following Naruto's life. And then we get this like scheme with like Sasuke going away. Well, that's been resolved fully now. So it's like, what is the show going to do? What is it about? What we saw was a pretty integral part to that.
Yeah. I mean, we know they're doing more than just going after the tailed beast, though. Like, they've laid out their, like, goals.
Yeah, and we've been told the goals from Pain.
See, here's my thing with that at this point is when he initially said, like, the 3 big goals, I was like, okay. Typical big corporation of nasty people, evil leaders doing evil leader things. It's like Pinky in the Brain. You're gonna try and take over the world, right? That kind of thing. Like, it's just, to me, that's kind of boring. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, any evil organization is going to try and do that. But this whole like Madara Uchiha thing, like, adds some dimension to it where I'm like, oh, okay. It's so much more intriguing now because there's like something else going on that makes the whole Akatsuki thing so much more interesting than just, world domination. Sure.
Yeah. And I think that something that anime does well is will utilize that, like, world domination at its core, like, can be a good, like, storytelling, like, plot piece.
Yeah.
But is so overutilized and cliched now that I understand the apprehension to it. But I think that anime as a whole, but Naruto specifically, can use that and it be more than, like, just the cliche.
Yeah.
Or at least justified. Maybe not justified. How about, like, you can see where the other side's coming from.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel
right.
It doesn't feel cheap.
Yeah.
Well, and also now that I'm kind of thinking through it, like, that would be horribly oppressive to, like, the world that we're now introduced to and kind of zooming out and seeing the big picture of.
Right.
And they even mentioned, like, is it the Hidden Rain Village?
Yeah.
That they mentioned in 126. So where that is geographically and politically and everything, it's like this place has no chance, essentially.
Yeah.
So there's, I don't know, in this batch, there's like a little more to it, I guess, that I'm really interested in and bought into.
Yeah. And I mean, that, like we said a couple times, it's a big piece. So you'll get a lot more information on it. Before we get
in 3 months is maddening, though.
Well, and that's, like, for full, like, 100% payoff, because that's, like, when I project we'll be done with, like, watching all of it.
True.
So, yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Holidays may throw that around a little bit, but that's about when we should finish.
Can I say one more thing about the evil organization? I think Pain seems cool.
Okay.
That's a really, like, middle school level view of a hero.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it the gauges?
No, I hate gauges. No offense to anybody with gauges, but they, like, skeeve me a little bit. They kind of freak me out just on a physical level, because I feel like they're going to get caught on something and just, like, rip. That's the only reason why. I know. Sorry. But welcome to my world. No, he just seems interesting and cool.
Here's the deal, though. Okay? This is what I'm wrestling with.
Here's the deal, though. Okay?
Zach's tagline.
Yeah.
Pain? It's so weird to me. If it is Toby, and I know we're not going to get an answer tonight because Logan's not going to say anything. Now, I respect and I love. Don't change your mind. Yeah. Keep it the way you're doing it.
Never change, Logan.
You've changed my mind. I will say it.
No, don't do it. What I'm saying, though, is, like, when Toby is in the sealing ceremonies and they're kind of chopping up what they're going to do next, he's very apprehensive and, like, eager to push his, like, hey, we should not do this. Let's, like, he's very apprehensive. I'll just say that. I can't remember exactly what they're talking about, but he's not gung-ho about the plan set forth. And Pain is, like, not necessarily, like, unresponsive to it, but he's not, like, talking to him as if he's talking to Madara. Does that make sense? Like, he's talking to Toby.
Yeah.
He's talking to this nuisance, rather than the leader of it all. That's what's throwing me off, that's actually the same guy. Unless he knows there's a split difference, and right now he's dealing with Toby. Toby, shut up. Like, you're not doing the, you're not, in your evil villain side of, I don't even know what to call it. Like, he's
the evil villain era.
Yeah, he's not Hyde right now. He's Jekyll. Like,
right.
We'll find
out.
I
can't say anything.
I'm just airing my thought process, because this is
I will
thoroughly
say
throwing me off.
Your arguments are founded in logic.
Yeah.
It seems like Toby is kind of the Red era. Madara is kind of Reputation. And we're about to see, is 1989 after? No, it was before Reputation, right?
Yeah, that was the album before.
Shoot, what was after?
After Reputation?
Yeah.
Lover.
Thank you, Lover. We're about to see Lover.
No thanks.
I feel like that was worth it.
Taylor Swift is my Datara. I'll say that.
So episodes 121 through 125, and it might have been a little bit before 121. Actually, I think it is only 120. It doesn't matter. We're getting different products here. At least Zach is compared to Asher, and I assume Lance.
Why?
The opener on those episodes in the sub is still the same song, but the visuals is the trailer to a Naruto movie that came out like right around that time. Naruto Shippuden and the Wheel of Fire, I think is what it's called.
Is it a filler movie?
Yeah, there's only one canon movie, and we're gonna watch it. It's at the very end. Like, it's not the very end. It's like 7 episodes before the end. But we'll watch it. But everything else is filler. There's some good ones. There's some bad ones. But I'm not sure if I've even seen this one. But the opener on the sub side is the trailer for that to the song. And then on the dub, obviously, because it was an American release, they just left it as it was. So just wanted to bring that up. Let you know, Zach, that if there's anything in you that wanted to watch that, then now you have the information to go do so.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that kind of leaves, I want to talk about 126 specifically, our last episode of the batch.
Gosh, you're gonna break my heart.
What do we want to say about it?
I want to say Jiraiya is bonkers and a nasty womanizer who needs to stop speaking forever.
No,
why?
You can shut your mouth.
Because of the way he was talking to Tsunade, it was not okay.
Okay, that's the very end. Let's first talk about Naruto and Itachi.
Okay, I'm up for that stuff.
Okay, what do we think is even going on here? Why? I'll just throw some questions out there. Is it Itachi? Is it not? It was a shadow clone. We know that. So it wasn't at least really him, but was it really Itachi's? What did he want to talk to Naruto about? Because nothing really was said. Like, a lot was said, but we never found out why he wanted to meet with him.
Right.
Why did Naruto not tell his team whenever they showed up? He just was like, oh, I'm good.
That's my biggest question.
Yeah,
what's going on? So
I don't have an answer to that one, but the other stuff, I mean, is kind of a how could we know at this point, but speculation wise, I was like, I didn't think for a second that it wasn't him, but I definitely thought this is not his normal behavior that we've seen so far. But that's as far as my mind has gone so far.
My working theory on the Akatsuki and Itachi is, I feel like with what we were given about the Civil War of the Hidden Rain and the fact that they're keeping it so under wraps, as Jiraiya and Tsunade were putting it, like it's a very tight-lipped community. They don't, it's very hard to work in and out of that, get in and out of the village. To me, I feel like it's becoming more, I think you were kind of talking about this earlier. It's becoming more about just like the Leaf Village and like the good boys. Like, there could be a side of this story that certain people are apologetic for, of like, they're in a certain part of the world where it's just a tougher environment. It's a tougher economy, and they're kind of placed smack dab in the middle of these giant powers, and they don't think it's fair. And so the Akatsuki, when they say world domination, maybe they're just trying to like bring peace and harmony in their own way to say that, because peace and harmony to the Leaf is kind of like it is now, like it's just operating the way it is, but to the Rain, it's like slums and it looks like a cyberpunk dystopia. And
like
so that's not peace and harmony.
Here.
Yeah, and they're kind of like caught in between probably like political barriers and like trade routes and all the different political ideas that come into play with any type of geographical location. And so peace and harmony to the Rain is different than peace and harmony to these bigger villages. And so Itachi's trying to say, hey, you have the ability to help us, and we're not trying to like kill everybody and like trying to cause this giant rift, but you could help us become a peace and harmony, because he's more of an innocent side of the Leaf Village yet. Like he's not, a political figure. He's just a kid who's trying to figure this out, and he's going after his best friend, who happens to be Itachi's brother. So we didn't get any of that, but that was like, oh, I bet this is what this is going to be.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
I dig it. I like that theory. I'm not exactly sure when we get payoff on this.
3 months.
It definitely 3-ish
months max.
It definitely made me think that, like, this whole batch made me think that the Uchiha obviously is like a huge part of everything that's going on here, but we just don't really have the information. But what that made me think is, did Itachi have some good reason for slaughtering all of them? Like,
and how did he know that Sasuke wasn't dead?
I think he's more in tune to Sasuke than we know yet. Because when Sasuke defeated Orochimaru, when he absorbed him, the blood moon showed, and everybody kind of was like, "Oh, this is a bad omen, or this something's going on." And I think the reason Itachi said to Kisame, because Kisame was like, "What's up?" and he's like, "Nothing." But I feel like he knew my brother just did what he was trying to do when he went over to Orochimaru's leadership.
And it makes me think, I mentioned this many episodes ago, but it makes me think that Itachi has had some like greater purpose in telling Sasuke, like, you have to hate me, and part of that was just driving him toward power in some way, like personal growth, if you will.
Well, it's also the idea, like, Itachi told Sasuke, the only way you can achieve this one thing is if you kill your best friend, right? And Itachi has done that. We don't know if now, however you say it, Madara, however you say it, Madara. We don't know that he didn't kill his best friend. I mean, he could have as well. And it could be like you're only able to be in tune with other Uchiha if you are able to achieve this certain thing. That could be a thing too.
So he made Orochimaru his best friend and killed him. Best friends.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't think. I think Naruto has to be the guy for that to happen. I'm saying for Madara and Itachi, they could be able to, like, I don't know, see into other Uchiha. Be more in tune with that, I guess. That's totally my own theory, though. It's not founded in anything other than speculation.
Yeah, but that's the fun of it. So we'll find out. We'll see. We'll find out pretty soon. But now we can transition to, which is basically the second entire half of the episode. Let's go back into Asher here, who's rolling his eyes so hard that they're about to disconnect.
I'm so sick of Jiraiya at the end of this episode.
Why?
Oh, dude, we have so
Jiraiya
different takes.
being an absolute disgrace to Tsunade.
How?
All caps. Gross.
Explain that.
How?
Tsunade retching.
How?
They keep talking and the convo sucks. He's like objectifying her. How do you not see that he's doing that? He's being gross. He's talking about her, like, parts of her body.
I must have missed this.
I think it's more of an admiration than it is like him being like she's an object.
I think he's being a pervy sage.
For sure. But that's not even what I focused on in this entire scene. But I respect that that's like a frustration for you.
I genuinely must have missed this.
Oh.
What was your takeaway then, Zach?
My takeaway is that Jiraiya is going to die in the next batch. Or
Why do you say that?
the batch after. Because the foreshadowing of him not coming back. Okay, here's the deal.
Get rumbled, Jiraiya. Get rolled, idiot.
That will literally like destroy me if he dies. I'm not. At this point, with the amount of foreshadowing and like inevitable, like there's no way around it. Like he is. After this conversation, he's gone. I can't see him
Really?
not. Yeah.
So
Maybe not the next batch, but soon.
Yeah.
okay. So you're calling his death. Got it.
Because his death in like say he fully does what he needs to do, but what he's set out to do is whatever is coming before the next move from the leaf, yeah? Like according to their plan and what he was saying.
Yeah.
My biggest thing with this, if Jiraiya dies, and this might be a hot take, but that is solely on Tsunade. Like, why in the world would she send him alone? I don't care if he's a Sannin or not. Send him with backup of some kind. Don't send him into the lion's
It's got to
den
be
as
secretive,
they say
though.
So
Sure, but
And
send
he has
him with
research
someone
to
else
do.
that's secret, like
But-
that's able to be stealthy.
But their numbers are low, I feel like.
But why send him into the lion's den alone? I don't
I
care
don't
if
think
he's a
that
Sannin.
Jiraiya would
So
have
that-
taken backup because
So
it
that he
was
can quit
immediately-
perving on her.
Yeah, or that. But
Nasty boy.
I don't think Jiraiya would have taken that. I don't think he would have, because she offered it and he was like, basically his response was like a mark of pride of like, you need to trust me because I am these things, or because I am. Yeah, that sounds right.
If you don't like Jiraiya's personality that much, then you can't like Kakashi anymore either, because he literally soaks up every word that he writes.
Yeah, dude.
Here's
So
the thing.
Kakashi's just as objectifying as Jiraiya is. Does that hurt a little?
No, because he's not like doing this to Tsunade's face. He's reading a romance novel.
Yeah, but it's
Fiction.
also like
Jiraiya's in real life being like, "Hey, Tsunade," and she's like, "Up here, buddy."
yeah, but you do that too. I sent you a figure that on the Crunchyroll store, and we were all like, "Oh yeah, that's a cool figure." Are you saying it's not because of her features? Like,
No, it's her personality.
oh right, because that's what that pose was implying. I'm a very cool person.
I think she's cool.
All that to say, my only thing
Sorry,
is
you
like,
don't.
okay, unbelievable.
No, we do love Jiraiya around here.
Back to what you were saying about the mission. You don't think that you don't think he would have taken backup, like at all? If she like, as Hokage was like, you're
You have
not
to.
going alone.
He would have been like, you're not going to tell me what to do.
Yeah. But in the same way, like the way he was kind of like poking fun at her and like not even like poking fun, but like the way he was talking to her, like to me, I can see Naruto, if Naruto goes his whole life single and Sakura goes her whole life single, I can see them both chopping it up that way as like old friends. Like they've been through it all together. Like to her, it was like, oh, silly Jiraiya. You know, it wasn't like, dude, show a little respect here.
Right. We were told something pretty big.
Naruto's parents.
Yep.
Kushina Uzumaki.
What's her name? Kushina Uzumaki. So here's the deal. Okay, so am I right from last week with Minato? Because you said it was like a cousin, but
I didn't say cousin.
Oh,
I just said, all I said was, and I purposely said this, that Minato's last name is Namikaze. And I said that's all I'm going to say. And that's true.
Yeah.
But Naruto has his mother's last name, Uzumaki.
Yeah. The way that Jiraiya mentioned it, it was very different and very odd. Like it wasn't like there was a different person in the conversation when he said that about his father. It didn't seem like it seemed like he was referring to Minato, in my opinion, the way I listened to it and heard it. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's his dad. I'm just gonna say it.
Asher.
I didn't get that vibe, but I'm definitely not going to rule it out because, I mean, we've had crazy predictions that were definitely wrong. But we've had a couple that were like just crazy enough to work.
Okay.
AKA be correct.
If we're not at a consensus of how we interpreted this scene, then I'm not going to solidify either.
But they said Naruto acts like his mom, but looks like his dad. And every bit of Minato screamed Naruto.
I'm not saying I disagree with you.
I'm talking to Asher.
I didn't get that impression initially.
From Minato?
This is literally the dub and sub. We are watching the argument. Like this is what fuels the argument of what is better, dub or sub, because Zach is watching dub, Asher's watching sub, and they're getting two different interpretations, and that within itself is the conundrum.
I just want to know what the land of Eddies is.
Yeah.
Is everyone's first name Edward?
Scissorhands is their first name.
Yeah.
Edward is their last name.
That's where Van Halen
the land of Eddies is what's a land? We'll start there. No, it's
not water.
I think we get a little bit more. It might be a filler arc that we get more on the land of Eddies, but it's not really significant besides the fact that there's world building here.
Here's the deal though. Okay?
The current positioning is how I feel.
When Tsunade first brings it up, the quote from Tsunade, quote from Tsunade in the dub is, let me read it. Minato Namikaze, Naruto is just like him. That's her initial quote. And then Jiraiya is like, you think so? He kind of reminds me of Kushina. And then, but he looks like Minato. That was the vibe. And then whenever he was like, yeah, he looks like his mom, but his dad, and they don't act like there's a third party involved. Like, why would he look just like Minato if that's not his dad? I don't know. There was not a mention of like there could be a third person. It wasn't either of them.
Well, I guess we'll just have to find out.
Son of a gun.
It just wasn't explicit though, and that's what makes me think that there's room for like either I've missed something or it's not telling us something, or
I don't think either of you have missed anything. I think Logan nailed it. You're watching two different like shows.
Yeah.
Like not really, but when it comes to certain things though,
yeah.
like the way that they're translated it's always going to be like a little.
Well, you got to
bit
think
different to one side or the other.
Right. Do the little Chio. Sorry to jump in on top of you, Lance, but you got to think like from anime or even further back with manga to anime. Like there's going to be, you're not going to always be one to one on what's being said. And I'm not sure what's said in the manga here, and I definitely have not read it in Japanese. But from Japanese voice acting to a subtitle translation is already going to be subjective because there's so many different like tones and inflections that change what is being said. So there's that, and I'm not saying that the translation's bad, but there's just some subjectivity there of like what do they mean? You got to take a lot of context clues into consideration. And then you get that brought over into dubbing, and now it's got to match up with the mouth somewhat and tell the same story, but also be spoken the way that people that speak English speak and not so literal. Because if the voice acting was just the subtitles, it probably wouldn't flow well. But to mitigate that, they try to find a middle ground. Most of the time it works. But whenever it comes down to, is it inferred? Is it not? It's just so hard to tell because there's, in Japanese in general, so much like context goes into the conversation because there's not as much detail in the way that they speak. Well, no, there is, but I mean, like, we use a lot of like adjectives and things that aren't so common in Japanese because it's picked up between the two parties that are speaking that the context here would mean this, so it's implied. So take it for what it is. So there's just a lot of places that things can fall through the crack. So I think that's a lot of people's argument as to why dub is more unreliable, but I think that 99.5% of the time it's just as reliable. This comes into play, and now you guys are getting two different like reactions to the same scene, and it's really interesting more than anything.
But can I ask you a question? Has the fourth Hokage been named? I feel like he has.
Yeah, the fourth Hokage is Minato Namikaze.
Right. So that goes into the same conversation of Tsunade is talking about who could take her place, like down the line. She mentions Kakashi. She mentions Naruto. To me, if Minato is a Hokage, Naruto is a natural idea because that's his son.
Could be, but Asuma also was never considered for Hokage. And you don't know this yet, but well, I'll just leave it at that. But Asuma was never considered. So I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think that it's more, and this also comes into play with what was shown like right after that little part that you're talking about, where Dan or Don, Dan, whatever, Dan, and her younger brother and then Naruto are like all shown in the sun. It's, and even Jiraiya says like, "Oh, you've really bought into Naruto." Or like you're really sold on him or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's more of like he would fill into this role because of who Naruto is, because he exhibits these like personality traits more so than like he is the son of a Hokage and therefore should be a Hokage.
Sure. But I feel like I hear what you're saying as well, but I feel like Asuma never wanted to be a Hokage. He never had that desire necessarily.
Sure.
It was never mentioned. Man, I really missed my mark here. I didn't fall into my father's footsteps,
Right.
But Naruto, obviously, like that's his whole driving force besides Sasuke. He's like, I'm going to be Hokage one day. To me, it's just like a reflection of his father. But yeah. Who knows?
Well, once that fact has been cleared up by the show, we'll come back to it and talk about our past theories and what was true and what's not. We'll see. So that kind of ends up. Wow, that kind of ends our batch. Is there anything that we missed? Anything you guys wanted to talk about?
Beware the foundation.
Oh, that's true. And she said, "I know." And then he gives a thumbs up into the sun.
Over his back, yeah.
Yeah.
In a very somber, I'm never going to be able to do this again with you way.
But if the show has taught us anything, is that it likes to break your neck. And that feels
break your
pretty
heart,
bad.
okay? And break your heart.
Yeah, but more break your neck. So we'll just have to see. And speaking of seeing, episodes 127 through 133 is our next batch. 7 episodes. This is a pretty solid batch. We've got, well, like the rest of the season is. Like we'll do those 7 and then we'll finish out the 10 and just get this season over with, and it just ramps up from here. I say that every week, but I truly do believe it. I'll tell you whenever we're on a downslope. Well, if there's not anything else, then I guess that will do it from us this week. Yeah.
Open the packs. Open the packs.
Oh, that's true. We have, dude. How do I forget every single week? And we've got new characters we've met, so like we might honestly get some cards that I've not been able to show you in the past. I'll be able to show you now. We have the most useless of them all, Tintin.
Rip Tintin.
Rip. Kiba.
What's up, Kiba?
Zach's favorite.
Kiba. Ino doing her little
what Ino do.
Jutsu. Can't get anything in focus, but whatever.
They're all. Oh well, no. Tintin was Shippuden.
Is that curse mark Sasuke?
No, actually, so Tintin and Kiba were both Shippuden.
Oh.
It is curse mark Sasuke if I could get it to focus, but there it goes.
Cool. Nice. Power level 19,000.
And then this really lame lead card.
Why you say lame?
Because I've seen a lot better, and I expect a lot better.
I miss Lee a little bit at this point.
Yeah.
We got the boy, Sasuke. Then we got this guy, Hellplants.
His name is Dosu.
Dosu.
Pakun.
Nice.
That's my dog.
Here's one of the cards I've not been able to show you until like now.
Hey.
Sugetsu.
And then Sakura.
Nice.
This is Shippuden Sakura. All right, pack number 3. Open up a pack a person.
Wait, is Sakura her last name?
No.
Is Shippuden her first name?
Hirano. Hirano? Is that right? No. What is her last name? Sakura.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure what. Yes, Haruno.
Haruno. Okay, cool. This is OG Kiba.
That's a cool one.
OG Sakura.
Before the haircut.
It's like OG. We just pulled that card. We just pulled this card. And then
a
very classic Naruto.
Nice.
It wouldn't focus, but whatever. All right, let's pack.
4? We're doing 4?
We're doing 4. Pack a person.
Oh, 1 per. I like it.
Here's our boy. What is his name?
Is that Hayate?
Hayate, yeah.
Gecko.
Hayate. Oh my god. OG Tintin. How lucky are we? And Shippuden Tintin. We are hitting a god pack. Shippuden Kiba. And a person I can't show you. So that's what a way to round it out. And I'll tell you that the card we just pulled is not good. It's not, besides the fact that it's character you don't know and you'd be like, who is that?
I'm going to guess it was Toby Uchiha.
Ooh, maybe.
Logan, will you text me who it was when we get off?
No.
Okay.
All right. Well, episodes 127 through 133 next time. Get to watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with us. I guess that's it. So
Rip,
2 people.
Rip Jiraiya.
How do we know that though? Put all these cards
I'm
back.
more sure that Jiraiya is gonna die than I did ever about Choji.
Whatever, dude. Just have to watch and see.
Thanks for having me.